Well, since my last video, most of the work on the railroad here has been cosmetic. Most of it's in little areas you don't see, so rather than demonstrate, I'll just point them out to you. I spent the last few days also cleaning out the shed and the area here to make more room and space. But as you know, that hobby rooms are like trash magnets. As soon as I manage to clear up some space for myself, I turn my back and something from the house gets brought out and stuffed in that place. It's a bit of a battle. Anyway, I'm getting there. This is the southern yard, which you've seen before, and as you can see, it's been cleaned up, a bit of work's been done, and some of the work has been cosmetic to the turn down the front there. You can see around the front I put a fascia board in across the front here. I've also put the basis for polystyrene in the scenery to come in there. You can see there's a lot of track and some more wires to be done. There's got to be detailing on these areas here to cover up the little bits and pieces where I've drilled holes to put wires through. You can see the background. There's scenery there. That's the scenery that I prepared. It's got to be dressed up a bit more, and I'll probably in the near future do another episode with that, showing you how to tart it up with trees and vegetation. Basically all the other work's been done under the layout. Now you probably want to say, show me under the layout. Well, if you ask that question you'll get the same answer if you ask the Scotsman what's under the kilt. I'd like to point out a few things. One is, you probably noticed the two old controllers down here. The controllers for the system. They are these Hammett and Morgan duets. Oh, well, not so. These are the Hammett and Morgan ones. Also got a duet elsewhere as well. Fair enough, they're old-fashioned. And why have I got them? Well, let me try to get focusing on them where I work. I'm working in reverse here because of the way the camera's set up. Well, basically, excuse the wind there, we've got storms brewing outside and we're going to get thunderstorms this afternoon, so I've got to hurry this along. These are the old rheostat controlled systems. I'll put that back on a wider screen so you can probably see more of it. There, that's better. I'm getting two sets of reflections here. I'm getting reflections off the glass and reflections of what's actually on screen, so please pardon if you're not seeing the right thing. They're rheostat controllers, and this fellow wanted to sell them because he had them a long while. He's gone on to digital command control, and he said when they're on slow speed, he mentioned that the rheostats heat up and they get quite hot. Besides, also they're good, but they're not good for that real fine scale stuff anymore. He wanted to get rid of them. He offered me $10 each for them. I managed to get the pair for $8. He put on a big fuss about how he's been cheated out like that. He's just glad to get rid of them. He said because they're no use to him. He's on DCC and he doesn't just need this type of power anymore. Also, the rheostats don't work. You turn it around to 3/4 power before you actually get the train to move, and when you get on to full power, the train's going like a bat out of hell. It's only got that much, really, 15 degrees of control on each one of them. After he sold them to me, he was skiting to his friends how he sold me two useless transformers. Well, that's the thing he missed out on, the word transformer. He sold them on the basis the controllers were no good. Now, if I were to slide this out, you'll see on the back of them, there's your 12 volt DC controller, and that's 16 volts AC. Now, he was only getting rid of them because the rheostat controllers are no good. The reason why I bought them, you're probably thinking outside the box like I am. Inside each one of these is a perfectly functional, strong, reliable 240 volt step down transformer. Now you can't build your own for less than $10. You know, that's an complete system. What I'm planning to do with these is put them in the layout separately down here somewhere down out of the road where they're ventilated. Put the 12 volts on maximum and run the 12 volt output to a separate voltage regulator, which would be a 5 volt, 8 volt, 12 volt, 6 volt for the different things like lighting, signals. And being on maximum volt, the wipers won't be touching the rheostat, so the rheostat won't be being used any hot. But you also got a 16 volt AC. That is perfect for running your own homemade transistorized controller. You didn't see that. Now, this is my first attempt at building a transistorized controller. I did it just out of fun to see what it was like, and believe me, it's a lot easier than what you think it is. One tip is to when you get your parts, identify them, put little tags on the legs of them so you know which is which. Now you've got a reversing switch, you've got a full 270 foot throttle. There's an on-off switch, as you can hear, off, on, and that's desirable speed, and that's maximum. It's got a overload warning light and direction indicator diodes. Now it uses just one IC. That's a Darlington transistor, an RS2042. They're not being made anymore. I happened to get a hold of a bunch of them when the old Tandy, Archer, Radio Shack people changed hands, and they dumped a whole lot of them out for 50 cents. They rated about 120 watts, and it's a Darling. There's two transistors in the one case, which makes it simpler. It works beautifully. The only fault is that I've used PMG cable, and it's a bit on the thin side, and it's single strand, so if it gets kinked up it'll tend to break inside the insulation. But next one will be better. I was contracted to build another one. One fella saw this one running at an exhibition and he loved it. So he said, build me one and I'll pay you for it. I got the parts, I started to put together, and he changed his mind. And the reason why, one of the other fellows who's the expert in electronics, he's got about as much knowledge you could write on the back of a postage stamp with a paint roller, said, oh, the transistor got too hot. Well, he was running double-headed brass locomotives in HO, and that's a lot of current, and it will heat up. Anyway, I started building a new one, and I got to this stage where it's got the reversing switch, it's got the full 26 knob controller, two LEDs, there's your chip on the set, and it's not wired up, but that's all it's got inside it. You got your reversing switch, an on-off switch built into your potentiometer. That's a bridge diode for the AC current to 12. That's just a grommet so I don't wreck the wiring when it comes in. And there up here is the contacts for the 2042 power transistor. Now you can't get these transistors anymore in this 203 case, but you can get them in the 220 case. I forget what number they are in, but anything about 120 watts, that's suitable. I'm going to use this one as the handheld controller for Old Joints Creek. And regarding these two down here, as I said, I'm going to wire out use the 12 volts to power lights and other things, and use a 16 volt output to power another controller, which I'll probably make like this, fastened to here. Now, this one here controls the shunting yards, and this one here controls the exchange locomotive, which the locomotive who drags the wagons in and out of the out of the shunting. So it's possible to have two trains running at the same time. Here you'll have one train moving into the yard here and shunting, and another train coming in and picking up the carriages and taking them out on the main line for the main line engines to come out from the service area to pick them up. That's basically all I want to really talk about this time. The future episodes will be on, first of all, I'll be doing the scenery around here and you can see how it's done. I've got to fix up a few little bits and pieces still. I've got to put more detail and decoration and fine tuning in there. I've got the hill in the background to finish off. I'm going to put some stuff into that. I've got these more trees. I also have a little session on doing trees. And behind, over to the right over here, there's a big hill to be done. That'll be done once the backdrop's been cleaned up and primed a bit more. So that's basically all what I'm going to talk about now. As you can see, that scenery for the hills out there turned out quite good. I'll just get out the shot there. I'll just see if I can get it in a bit closer. It just needs some more trees and also a little bit more grey and other colours dusted over the surface to indicate weathering. Once I got this bit more presentable and I've cleaned all the rubbish off the other end of the layout, I'll start moving down the layout towards the control panel area, and you'll see the station layout as well. And I've also got in position to put out for my new buildings I've got, including a complete town and the station building. I've also managed to acquire some more rolling stock from a fellow who has offered it to me. There's some intriguing locomotives in it. A few of them are German. Someone will say, what are you doing running a German trains on your American layout? Well, maybe there might be just a wealthy German fellow in Sawtoh Valley called Trumpkopf who decides to run an Oktoberfest special. See, it's my layout, I can do anything I want. Okay, that's all for this time. I'll better get this uploaded and out of the road before the storms roll in, and maybe this weekend I'll probably do another little section on possibly on scenery. Maybe all this will be dried and fixed up by then. Right, that's it. See you then.